All right, you want to hit it? We'll hit it. Yep, that'll be fine. All right, we're on. Like to call this meeting to order, a regular meeting of the Village Board on Monday, November 1st at 7 p.m. in the Village Hall Boardroom and also can be accessed via WebEx. This meeting has been given public notice in accordance with sections 19.83 and 19.84 of the Wisconsin statutes in such form that will apprise the general public and news media of subject matter that is intended for consideration and action. Roll call shows all village board members present. Trustee Miller is here, but is currently disposed, so she'll be joining us shortly. At this time, I'll ask us all to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. Next item is President's Report. Just a couple things to report tonight. Before we get too far into our meeting, I'd like to take this opportunity to introduce and have this person stand, our new Park and Rec Director. His full name is Guilford Standrich, but he goes by Gil. So for those of you that have not met him or had the opportunity to talk with him, the man standing is currently our new Park and Rec Director. Is there anything you'd like to say? If you do, you got to come to the podium. That way everybody at home and watching via WebEx can hear you as well.
Well, I just want to take this opportunity to thank you for bringing me on board. I'm very excited and proud to be here. I spent some time in La Crosse several years ago, and ever since I left, I've been looking for an opportunity to come back to Wisconsin and your famous cheese curd. So this is a great opportunity for me. I'm excited about the prospects of the parks and the recreation programs that are going on currently. I'm hoping over the next few years to be able to build on what we currently have and continue to improve our park systems. And got a great start with the outdoor recreation program plan, and hope to build on it and continue to make our parks a more amenable place and place that people from all over the state of Wisconsin want to come to. So I do thank you for this opportunity, and I look forward to working with each and every one of you, and I'll make it a point to try to get around to get to know y'all better and know me better. Forgive the y'alls and stuff.
That's how you get more nasally as you stay in Wisconsin, and you'll start to draw out your vowels a little bit.
Okay. I will work on the accent. But anyway, thank you for having me, and I appreciate it.
We look forward to working with you as well, and welcome aboard. All right, that's all I have for President's Report tonight, so we can go to announcements of forthcoming events of public interest, committee and department reports. We'll start with committee reports and committee chairs with Trustee Kaminsky.
Public Works will meet in this room at 6 p.m. on Wednesday of this week.
All right, thank you. Trustee Miller.
General Government and Finance will meet on Monday, the 15th at 6 p.m.
Thank you. Trustee Myers.
Mr. President, the Public Safety will meet next month, December 6th at 6 p.m.
All right, thank you. Is there anything else that anyone else has for announcements of forthcoming events of public interest, committee or department reports they'd like to bring forward? Trustee Baum.
Do we have any more 2050 public planning meetings scheduled yet?
We would have them on the fourth Monday.
Fourth Monday of the month.
Right.
Okay.
And I would say that quite possibly yes, because there are some additional things that still need to be worked through and put together for the presentation to the public. There also needs to be some public hearing sessions planned as well, so that it's not just presented at the public hearing, but has availability of input from the residents before it comes up for public hearing or before this body for approval.
So anybody wanting to participate, they can show up at this meeting, fourth Monday, 6:30,
Mm-hmm.
and listen to what's being said and have input.
Yep, those meetings have always been open, so anybody that has wanted to participate in the past has done so. Okay, thank
Can we
you.
maybe put that on the Germantown2050.com website? Because it says right now that the next meeting is March 22nd at 6:30.
Okay.
That's all that's listed on there.
As they get planned and scheduled, we'll update the website. Any other things that people have to bring forward for announcements of forthcoming events of public interest, committee or department reports? Trustee Myers?
I just want to go through that. Did you say there was one more public meeting in regard to the
There
2050 plan?
could be several. It's all up to Planner Retzloff to schedule them. They mostly occur on the fourth Monday of the month.
It's just,
We
that-
just had one last month, and there could be one this month as well. We just haven't scheduled it yet. We usually schedule it or know that we're going to have it once we go through our Plan Commission meeting on the second Monday of the month.
I'd like to see two of them myself, but I've had a lot of people talk in regard to this, that with the virus and so on and so forth, they just didn't want to partaking of it, and they wanted to be there in person where they could see it, but they didn't want to go to the meetings.
And there is still information on our website about it, and there is also opportunity to comment or add comments to it in regards to what you'd like to see in certain areas of the village.
Thank you.
Trustee Jan Miller.
Yes, I just thought perhaps we'd like to mention that the Christmas parade is going to be Saturday, November 13th, and all festivities down at Fireman's Park. So you can go online and figure that out.
Right, and the Candy Cane 5K
Yes.
run walk will also be that same day at 10 a.m. The starting is usually at the police station. I don't know if it still is. I'd have to look and
it's
see.
Monroe, so.
So then I would assume so. Trustee Pieper.
Where can I find the dates of the 2050 plan meetings? I don't see it anywhere on the village website or the Germantown 2050.
The only one that is for surely scheduled for public right now is the one that you mentioned, but as they get scheduled and it has to be worked out with the planner and also with Grafe, then they will be presented as part of the public notice of meetings.
So is there one, in fact, on November 22nd?
Don't know yet.
There isn't. So there's
Don't know
no
yet.
current.
That's up to
no
Planner
current
Retzloff.
2050 meeting planned until March, officially.
Officially as noticed on the website, but as the others have happened, like last month in October, they will be added or publicly noticed as other meetings of the Plan Commission or part of the Plan Commission's agenda of discussion of the 2050 plan.
Got it.
Anything else for announcements of forthcoming events of public interest, committee or department reports? Okay, then we can go on to the next item on the agenda, which is citizen input and public appearance on items not subject to a public hearing. No public hearings on tonight's agenda. If there is anyone in our audience or has joined us via WebEx that would like to participate in citizen input or public appearance, you're welcome to do so at this time. But before you come forward, I'd like to read one that I received via email, and then those that wish to come forward can. So we did receive one communication from Carrie Belkey, and it is dated today. And the subject line is property address lot 38. And it says, my biggest concerns are three: A, water drainage; B, traffic onto Elm Lane where lots of people walk and drive. Please be aware of the many cars that drive through because GPS tells them they can go through Forest Drive to Friedenfeld Park, but they cannot. C, the rumor that one house was being built, yet a very large driveway was created such that several neighbors commented, including my 96-year-old father, that the driveway is too big for one home. What's going on? Thank you for an opportunity to mention these. So that is the one communication that we received. From what I can discern, I think it has something to do with the residential development that is occurring as a Plan B off of Elm Lane. It is not a single house. I think it's like 3 or 4 that were planned to be there, but I'd have to go back and revisit that plan to be sure.
It is 2 or 3, and they're putting in a wider drive lane because of the distance back. Want to be able to get fire trucks back
Right.
there so that they don't have a repeat of what happened on Mary Booth a few years ago, where the fire trucks had to haul water to and from 600-yard.
Driveway that they couldn't get up, right?
It's a bigger driveway than normal, but it's only 2 or 3 houses.
But if Ms. Belke has further questions on that, she can reach out to either the planning department or members of the plan commission, and we can help to answer her questions that she may have on this property address, lot 38.
She can reach out to me. I'll go over and talk to her.
Is there a
Okay.
public hearing on any, was there one on that,
There will be a public hearing on that on November 8th.
on that particular driveway specifically?
Correct.
Okay.
Okay. Then others that want to come forward for citizen input public appearance? Mr. Yachek.
Chris Yachek, N116W15041 Brownstone Court, Germantown. On behalf of the veteran community, I would like to express my deepest thanks and gratitude. Time that volunteers spent on Saturday, October 1st to enhance and refurbish the Veterans Memorial at Fireman's Park. Volunteers came from the community to support this project, included veterans from the American Legion Post, VFW Post 9202, along with village employees from numerous departments, the general public, and Johnson Nursery. It's often been said that when people work together, great things can be accomplished. Contributions made by the aforementioned to upgrade the landscaping of the Veterans Memorial is a prime example of that. Without their dedication to the memorial, the veterans it honors, and the community, this upgrade could not have happened. I'd be remiss if I did not acknowledge the generous contributions of Johnson Nursery. They graciously donated landscape plantings for the project, along with volunteers. Without them, this project would not become a reality. I would also like to thank and acknowledge the contributions of Scott Anderson and the Department of Public Works team for their contributions. They were a driving force for this project. Again, on behalf of the veterans in the Germantown community, our heartfelt thanks and deepest appreciation. Finally, on Sunday, November 14th at 11 a.m., American Legion Post 1 will observe Veterans Day at the newly renovated Germantown Veterans Memorial, located on the corner of Park Avenue and Freistadt Road. Please consider attending this observance that honors all veterans. Thank you.
At what time?
11 a.m.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that wishes to come forward at this time for citizen input or public appearance?
Dan Wing, 494 Olympic Drive in Slinger, business north 11912 Goldendale Road in town. 1 year ago today, around this time, I should say, we were talking about Richfield water and sewer. We're still talking about it. Trustee Pieper and I expressed concern, many of you that were there will remember this, about wells running dry. Mostly because both I have a history in Germantown where we're very familiar with dry, hers did in her hood. My family's well ran dry along with the families around. Well, that Gales drilled along with wells that the village was drilling. So this town has a history of that we should really consider. I was talking about collecting our history. So we brought it up. Later in that meeting, you'll remember Larry came forward. He said, and you can watch the videotape, that this is a non-issue because this well is going deep. He explained to us at the meeting, neighbors are in the Dolomite aquifer, which is shallow, limestone, but this well is going deep in the sandstone aquifer, so this is a non-issue. Later, a couple weeks later, Richfield, having heard my response and Jolene's, was trying to counter all our responses. So they came forward with a study from hydrogeologist, said basically the same thing. Mr. Wing, you know, talking about, you're silly. This is going deep. Money's in there for it to go deep. That's what you're voting for. So what did we vote for and what actually happened? We voted for it to go deep. That's why the money was there. We voted for taking care of the radon. We didn't vote for steel to force it to go. What actually happened is someone, and I don't know, it wasn't the board, call it the shadow government, it's just a word that tells me who it is. Somebody decided to go shallow against the will of the board. They did it because they thought they could save money. Well, there's water there, it's good, and we don't have to radon, we can go shallow. But the reason we did it was to appease the neighbors. We're silenced, told that this is no argument. We're going deep. So why would somebody supersede the board? Why wouldn't it come back to the board, at least have a public hearing and say, hey, we're going shallow to save some money? Then the residents in the area who have wells, who have concerns in the past, remember when Miracle Homes were there, they had concerns about their wells and they came. Why are we not caring about our neighbors? So it's mysterious. I was told that, well, they found water. That's great. Well, we all knew there was water there. All the neighbors, their kids are drinking water from there. We know there's good water and there's not radon in it. We knew that at that meeting, but we were told we're going deep. They said that a study was done for a couple weeks and then with neighboring wells and found out, hey, there's enough water for everybody. So we went from don't worry, nothing can happen, you're being silly, to, well, we'll inspect and if it's good, we're going to have. Why didn't they tell us that when we were voting on it? If you think that the well depth doesn't matter, I got one of these for. This is actually a Richfield groundwater monitoring program. Now, all over the state, I was studying this last week about wells and their effect on neighboring wells. And I could have brought a lot of information in, but I know you guys want me to keep this short all the time. So I brought in Richfield's program. If you look on the last paragraph, they're talking about when Reflection Villages came in, and you know that area right along 175, there's beautiful homes in there with a bank in the middle. And read the bottom line, it says, at full build out, the development anticipated water demand is nearly 58,000 gallons per day. If this amount of water were to be pumped from a shallow aquifer alone, the development could not achieve compliance with Richfield's Groundwater Protection Ordinance, a specific ordinance protecting neighbors' wells. Consequently, the village has issued groundwater protection permit requiring Reflections Village to install a well into the deep sandstone aquifer to supply at least half the demand of the ultimate demand. The deeper aquifer is not used by other wells in Richfield. Most of the people have wells in Richfield. The deep aquifer is not used by wells, so any drawdowns that would occur there would not affect Richfield residents. So at the same time, Richfield has ordinances protecting their residents and making Reflections Village, which is 114 acres, drill deeper to protect their residents. They are building a, 600 acre. It's like 6 times the size. So at the same time they're doing that, they're going to Germantown for water, and we're building a shallow well to not only fund that whole area, but areas of our own village and future expansion of our village without any care for the residents. So while they're drilling deeper, having ordinances to protect their residents, our residents are told that we're silly. Our residents are told we're drilling deep. And then without them knowing, we drill shallow. To this date, many of them don't know. I talked to a few of them and they're shocked. Why wouldn't they know? Did we lie to them? Well, everybody says that's strong. Well, what happened? We didn't tell them the truth. It was misinformation. Now there's one guy. No one on the board is going to that neighborhood. There's one guy going to that neighborhood to try to give them the right information of what happened. When did this happen before? Hindenburg Generals, does that ring a bell? One guy coming to your subdivision to tell you what the board's actually doing because you got misinformation. please continue your activism even when you're on the board to support the neighbors and residents. So Healy is going around talking about this study, this actual study that I guess he's referring to it. When residents, and this is the second page, this is an article that appeared in Washington County Insider. He's informing his residents the reason for going to Germantown Water. And if you read the highlighted part, he says the geographic area, he's talking about this area they want to develop, has been studied and has vastly different geological makeup than the majority of the village of Richfield, which has sand and gravel. So you're not going to see the same type of groundwater recharge you see throughout the community. Because if you read this study, their eastern part of Richfield, they're finding it's hard to recharge. That's what we're bordered up against. And therefore, over time, Healy says, you'll likely see negative impacts to surrounding well based on the type of office and light industrial uses we have shown in our comprehensive plan back in 2004. What they're telling us they want to build, they figured out that wells in that area wouldn't recharge, so this is the reason that they're going to Germantown. Will ours recharge? They're protecting their citizens, they're not. We're not. Further, if you look at the Star, he talks about an ordinance they have. He's calming the residents down who are worried when they're hearing all these news articles about water and sewer, and he's saying, you know, hold on a second. We have a referendum. We know it's controversial. We want water sewer in this area on north of Holy Hill. We know it's controversial to extend water and sewer past 175. So this is what we're going to do. We're setting up a referendum. So you, the people, can relax. There'll be a referendum and you need to decide. We have a controversial extension outside of our community. And I'm going to give Jolene the credit on this, Trustee Pieper, because she was the first one who I heard say it. She said, why don't we have a referendum? A few days after she said that, several residents said to me they're reading these articles where Healy's going around telling everybody they get a referendum. Why don't the citizens of Germantown get a referendum for controversial extensions? Instead, what we're doing is we're playing this red light, green light. Well, we're going with a higher tower, we're not. Going deep, we're going shallow. We're going higher, we're going not. We're going with Richfield, we're going not. Finally, I think, you know, we fought about this for so long. I've been fighting Richfield for, I don't want any. Farmers out there have been fighting it. 3 past village presidents. Wetterall is very much opposed to it. Zabel's opposed to it. As I just talked to Kopensky today, who's really opposed to it. This is controversial. Now the citizens with the wells in the area are opposed to it. But what we realize is when you fight and fight and fight, all of a sudden a light bulb. All of a sudden you see, you know what, why am I fighting? Why don't I listen to Richfield? Why don't I embrace Richfield? If you read through Richfield's policies, they have it right. They fight, I'm tired of fighting for Richfield. I'm going to listen to them, embrace their policies. Let's have our own policy. About this, you don't have to see me come here anymore. You'll appreciate. And we'll have a referendum and just pound out the best deal you can. I think you should vote against the deal, but I think a majority of you will. Pound out the best deal you can and put it to referendum. How could Healy and Josh be against a referendum? That's what they're promoting every day in the newspaper to the people of Richfield. Well, treat our citizens the same. We're partners now. Let's have a referendum. And in the deal, you put protections for the residents. We need to listen to Richfield on that too. They have great laws to protect the wells. To make sure those residents in that area are protected. So if we all of a sudden do start taking all this water out of the area, that their wells don't run dry, because that's very common in Germantown. Who's going to pay for that? Hopefully Richfield. If Richfield can't wait for a referendum in spring, which I think would be the best time, then we will have a special election referendum and they can pay for that. We know they want the water, so there's a way we can do this. Let's give the citizens of Germantown the same power, the same respect the citizens of Richfield have. Thank you.
Thank you for coming forward. there anyone else that would like to come forward for citizen input or public appearance at this time, either within our audience or have joined us via WebEx? Else? All right, then we can go on to the next item on the agenda, which is consent agenda. Board?
Motion to approve consent A through C.
Motion made and seconded to approve consent agenda items A through C. Is there any discussion on that motion to approve? No discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Trustee Myers,
Didn't hear it, Dennis. Aye? Did you say aye?
Yes. Aye.
Thank you.
Trustee Peeper,
Yes.
Trustee Baum,
Aye.
Trustee Hudson,
Aye.
Trustee Kaminsky, Trustee Rick Miller,
Aye.
Trustee Jan Miller,
Aye.
President Walter,
Aye.
Trustee Nightrider.
Aye.
Motion carries.
You. Next item on the agenda is unfinished business. Unfinished business item A, ordinance 11-2021, an ordinance amending section 14.09 of the Germantown Municipal Code relating to safety measures for private swimming pools. Give us some more information and background on this unfinished business item. I'll turn our meeting over to the village attorney to give us an update on this.
So you'll all recall that at the last meeting, we talked about this, actually it wasn't the last meeting, it was 2 meetings ago. We talked about this particular item, and there was some desire to just generally allow for these types of safety covers in what we would classify the more rural parts of the community, and ask that we come back with a proposal that would do that. And so if you look within the packets at the proposed ordinance under Section 4, Sub B, we've effectively done that in this case where we say, just in lieu of offense required above, any of the property located on a residential or agricultural zoning district where the minimum lot area is greater than 5 acres, a non-temporary pool may utilize a power safety cover, provided that it's in such working order. In addition to that discussion, there did seem to be some members of the body that at least that might have wanted to consider utilizing some of the additional safety features either in the more rural parts in addition to what we have, or to allow these types of safety covers in more of the urban areas, but with more of the safety provisions that are there. And so we didn't actually take out that language, we just highlighted it in gray, so that if we decided that we wanted to go that route, we could a little bit more easily on the fly address those types of concerns. And so the proposed action for you, staff, zoning staff, and my office continues to believe that this is not an appropriate change to make. However, if there is a desire to do it, the proposed motion would be to adopt either as presented or with whatever changes you would see fit.
Questions? So the item in gray under B, subsection B, that's for more urban areas, or that's in addition to the cover itself? I mean, explain that part to me.
Sure. The language that's in gray under B there is the language that was actually part of the proposal 2 meetings ago.
Okay.
We took it out because the kind of directive that we got was we just kind of want to just allow it in the rural areas, and that's it. And
Right.
so the non-grayed out language does just that. It allows for these covers in the rural parts of the community. There were at least a couple members of the board that seem to want to allow them maybe a little bit more broadly, including into the more urban areas, perhaps with some of those safety protections allowed. And so I just left that language in here to just have it available if we want that discussion and go down. So if you don't want to do that, then the recommendation would be to approve just without that grade language.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to approve without the grade language to allow these pool covers to be used in lieu of a fence.
In rural areas only as shown by the ordinance? correct?
That's what the grade area,
The grade areas in it, if you'd want to make it more into the urban areas, you're removing the gray area, so then it makes the ordinance allowable only in rural areas.
why was it phrased like that?
Why was it phrased like
Well,
that? Because it's, if you look at,
No, I'd like to allow it everywhere. I know it's more likely to pass if I say it's only allowed in a certain area, but I do feel like this should be allowed everywhere. I mean, we're still going to have an inspector there to make sure that they have an adequate pool cover that I could literally do jumping jacks with my whole entire family on.
and I can understand, point of view on that, but originally when this was brought forward, to me as a request for some people that are putting in pools out in more of a rural area, the larger zoning districts, part of the reason that they thought this would be an acceptable, ordinance or a non-fence use is because of the amount of land that they have between, and not the ability of households that are close by with small children that can wander between yards. If you're out in a more of a rural area, you're talking acres and acres. Not that that opportunity can't present itself, but it's less likely. And if the reason that I found it acceptable is it starts the process of using these covers if someone wants to put the expense in to have them, and at the same time in a manner that that really allows them to be used, to me, in my opinion, in a more safer manner, because people aren't as in a densely compressed urban environment. It's really more of your private backyard with 5 acres in between, and less likely of small kids wandering around. So if I would vote on this, I would like it to start in a rural area, and then from there, we can see how they effectively perform, and then could look at it in the future to make it more village-wide. Be my preference, but it's your motion.
Well, can I withdraw my motion if my
can.
second allows it and just change it then to,
And withdraw your motion. And
Fine,
you want to restate your motion?
yes. I would like to approve is this a change of ordinance?
This is an ordinance 11-2021, so it's not a change, it's being considered a new ordinance.
New ordinance. Okay, I would like to make a motion to approve the new ordinance of having this pool cover in lieu of a fence. How would you like me to state it?
However
Including
you
the
want
gray-
it. You're
including
saying
the
that you would
gray
like to have
area.
it village-wide.
Okay, including the
is-
gray area that allows it to only be allowed in rural area.
We want it only and exclude the gray area.
Then exclude the grade area and make it only in rural.
Okay.
Rural. Sorry.
That
Deanna,
is your motion.
Apologize. Yes.
Isn't that
does-
the
It's
same
the same. Just
motion?
don't go there. We're trying to get a motion on the floor. You're on a second still?
I mean, yes, you're,
Take out the gray area again?
Yes, she did.
well, I want to keep it in rural. Yes.
That's fine, yes.
I
yes.
define the grade area, and then read it again. Sorry. But I mean, I don't even live in rural area. I live right across the street on open water. On open water. Guess what? Even in winter, I have open water because we run the aerators all day long, or all winter long. Yes, we're already to this discussion. I just didn't wait for President Walter to say it. Sorry. But I have 5 children that live on open water all year round. It is my duty as a parent to protect my children, right? Do I need to put a pool cover over the pond?
No.
Do I need a fence around our whole entire pond? Yes, a lot of kids die every year from drowning. Yes, they do. That is a fact, 100%. I grew up with a pool and I grew up on open water. There is no reason that these people who live way out can't have a pool cover instead of a fence. Those fences, my 4-year-old can get into a fence better than he can this cover. Absolutely. And if you want to see him do it, I've got videos of him. He can jump that fence in a hot second. But is he going to be able to open this pool cover? No. Done. Sorry.
Further discussion. Trustee Miller.
I don't know a lot about these covers, but I have a couple questions. I mean, a fence is there, permanent, right? A pool cover has to be closed. in order to work. How do they get closed? Is it automatic? It's automatic, so at a certain period of time, you
Yep,
can,
yep.
you can
set the
close them.
timer.
Is there any,
Like a garage door.
is there any language in here that talks about when it needs to be closed?
I mean, if it's open, you're vulnerable.
No, there's no provisions within the code expressly that identify that, you know, it has to be closed.
As there
after
should, because, I mean, are you gonna tell me when I have to have my gate closed then? Because if there's a fence, then there's a gate. Yeah, they're supposed to be self-closing. You wanna know how many of them around this village are self-closing? Lake Parks aren't self-closing.
Was that a complaint for that?
Well,
like-
no.
Let's stay on topic and,
Well, any residential person, when they are gonna open up the gate, do you see how many, what the pool fences usually look like in Germantown? Can anybody comment? Because I know what a lot of them look like. The pool fences are these little mesh things that can actually come down in winter. They take these little poles out and wrap them up because they're not actual like chain link fences. That's what 90% of the people's fences look like that have pools in Germantown. So that little mesh fence, their little gate to get it open, it's literally like you pick up a pole and open it. So that's not a self-closing gate.
does our ordinance require a
Self-closing gate,
fence
yep.
along an above-ground pool? It's mostly for in-ground pools, is
above
it?
As long as it's above 4 feet, I think is what the code says, as I recall.
Typically, a pond doesn't have a fence because it's shallow. You know, you wade in versus a drop off of 3 to 4 feet.
You should see how many drop-offs there are.
I know, you're gonna say that there's some like that, and there is, but that's the reason that ponds don't have a fence. And
They're usually a sloped edge to them. You had questions, trustee Miller? Did you?
Well, I had that question is, are they automatic? Because a fence is passive and this has to be an active thing. That's my question is, are they automatically closing? How do you determine when to close it?
When you're done using the pool.
Is my understanding that there's several ways that you can do it, whether it's simply pressing the button once you're done, or they can also be set up on timers.
For the laws in other states, the states that say that they have it, is there any further requirements by these or just that it has to have a cover?
Village
Don't
attorney.
we know that?
By and large, the ones that we looked at just say that they have to have a cover. That's quite honestly one of the reasons why our office doesn't recommend the ordinance is because, you know, how many, for example, if you're going to run in to have the grilled cheese at lunch, you know, are you really going to push the button close the pool? You know, certainly there are some of the automatic type covers that do have timers and sensors that, you know, you could make it more automatic. But by and large, that's not something that most states do. They just kind of say, well, as long as it meets the standard, which is that it's automated, that you can't have access once it's closed, those types of things, sufficient.
I mean, having the 5-acre property, I think is right now the right way to go, just so that we, I guess, can monitor this for a while and make sure that it does meet the safety standards. I think it will, but sometime.
The record, I don't even know the couple people who want these pool covers in lieu of fences. I don't even know who this is. We don't even know if they have children. I don't know who it is, so I don't even know if they have kids. This pool could be going in a backyard for a couple who's 35 years old. So, but now I have to go through extra measures as a married person who's 35 years old with no children. Now I have to have at least one of the following. So now we have to have like an alarm or something that goes, the pool door is open, again and again and again.
If,
Or we took that.
based on the previous ordinance, you would have had to have a fence.
Yeah. No, and then it says, and at least one of the following.
Or at least,
As
Figured out
it's,
everything
as
else
it's
out, right?
presented and based on your motion, that's not required.
correct.
They can just have a cover. You don't need any of those additional safety.
So there wouldn't be another additional safety thing. As long as they have the cover, they don't have to go through any other jumping hoops and
That's correct, because you removed the gray highlighted areas in your motion. Further discussion, trustee Myers.
I think you said, Brian, that if you wanted to add some language, you could, correct?
Yeah, I mean, that's always true.
Yeah, well, I know, it just sounds simple, but I'm just saying what Rick talked about and what other people are talking about.
Look,
as an
I don't know
example.
enough about these to.
No, I don't know either,
say
but
That we should have an automatic in that. That's
I'm
very
not gonna-
tough to do. I don't want somebody sitting in the pool and all of a sudden it starts closing.
There you go. And they drowned underneath it.
Well, you could have the power go off too, and whatever you got doesn't do anything. Thing's open. She's gone. Too bad.
No, I'm fine with the
fine,
ordinance the
whatever.
way it's proposed.
Thank you.
Further discussion, trustee Kaminsky.
Just a comment, I have nearly 8.5 acres, and I could put a pool. My neighbors could pop right into it. Because my lot is narrow and long, so the fact that you have 5 acres is no protection at all for something like this, just a point.
Further discussion, trustee Baum.
All the devices that are out there, all of them get circumvented somehow, some way. You've got fences, you've got covers, you've got doors, you've got hardware. Something fails sometime around and some little child walks in accidentally, unintentionally. Unfortunately, they die. This is not going to be any different. Left open, it'll fail, something will happen, somebody's going to die from it. But likelihood of that is very slim, very rare. Only do it in a section of the village so that we can get accustomed to it and find out what the pros and cons are. I'm in favor of it.
Further discussion. No further discussion? Do roll call vote, please.
Trustee Peeper,
Aye.
trustee Baum,
Aye.
trustee Hudson,
Yay.
trustee Kaminsky, trustee Jan Miller,
Nay.
trustee Rick Miller,
Aye.
trustee Myers,
No.
trustee Nightrider,
No.
President Walter.
Aye. Motion fails.
Ridiculous.
Hearings?
Stuck for
New
now.
business.
We'll have to come back. All right, anything else on unfinished business? Public hearings, there's none. New business starts with new business item A, disallowance of claim for Patricia Zancanero.
Make a motion to approve the disallowance of the claim for Patricia Lancanero as presented.
Second for discussion.
Motion made and seconded. Discussion, trustee
was-
Peeper.
There was nothing in here in regards to the
What is
claim.
the
Like,
claim?
what is this? What happened?
What's it about?
Nothing.
There is an item in the backup information that says the letter was sent. With restricted is providing this letter in response.
Has no
Village
information on
attorney.
it.
Apologize, I can give a little information if it helps. This is from a slip and fall claim from January. It followed the correct procedure with the insurance company. This is a next part of the process that they would be, she would be sent a letter and have an additional 6 months to continue with any proceedings. Otherwise, this just puts an end timing of the claim to say, if you want to do something, you have 6 more months, and then.
Where did she slip and
wording
fall,
of
do you
that.
know?
Outside or in?
Outside, this was in January of this year.
Or snow or?
That's the allegation, yes.
Further discussion? No further discussion? All those in favor of denying the claim, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? One opposed. Motion carries. And as was stated, this then allows a time factor to become put into place that they have so many months to bring an additional claim forward and pursue it through legal action. Next item under new business is new business item B. We also have C and D, which are all requests to go into closed session. We start with new business item B. is the Village of Richfield Potential Water Sewer Memorandum of Understanding. The village board may enter into closed session per Wisconsin statutes 19.85 subsection 1 subparagraph E for the purpose of deliberating or negotiating the purchasing of public properties, the investing of public funds, or conducting other specified public business whenever competitive or bargaining reasons require a closed session, and then may reconvene into open session to take such action as it deems appropriate.
Motion to go into closed session.
Motion made and seconded. Discussion? No discussion? Roll call vote.
Trustee Myers?
Aye.
Trustee Pieper?
Aye.
Trustee Baum?
Aye.
Trustee Hudson?
Aye.
Trustee Kaminsky?
Aye.
Trustee Jan Miller?
Aye.
Trustee Rick Miller?
Aye.
Trustee Nightrider?
Aye.
President Walter?
Next new business item C is acquisition of property in the area of the intersection of Donjas Bay Road and Wasaki Roads for the new Department of Public Works facility. The village board may enter into a closed session per Wisconsin's statutes 19.85 subsection 1 subparagraph E for the purpose of deliberating or negotiating the purchasing of public properties, the investing of public funds, or conducting other specified public business whenever competitive or bargaining reasons require a closed session, and then may reconvene into open session to take such action as it deems appropriate.
Motion to go into closed session.
Motion made and seconded. Discussion? No discussion? Who are we including?
For items B and C, I would ask the addition to myself, the Public Works Director and the Village Attorney, and for item D, the Village Attorney.
Thank you. It's excused. Any further discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Trustee
Aye.
Myers? Trustee Myers?
Aye.
Trustee Pieper? Aye. Trustee Baum? Trustee Hudson?
Aye.
Trustee Kaminsky? Trustee Jan Miller?
Aye.
Trustee Rick Miller?
Aye.
Trustee Nightrider?
Aye.
President Walter?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Next item under new business is item D, which is the Director of Public Works Retirement Agreement. The village board may enter into closed session per Wisconsin statutes 19.85 subsection 1 subparagraph C for considering employment, promotion, compensation, or performance evaluation data of any public employee over which the governmental body has jurisdiction or exercises responsibility, and then may reconvene into open session to take such action as it deems appropriate.
Motion to go into closed session.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion on the motion to approve? The only one to include, you said on this one, was the village attorney? All right, thank you. No further discussion?
Wait, hang on. Should we do this out in a different order? Or no? Oh, yeah, never mind. I was thinking backwards. Never mind.
Further discussion? Roll call vote.
Trustee Myers?
Aye.
Trustee Pieper?
Aye.
Trustee Baum? Trustee Hudson?
Aye.
Trustee Kaminsky? Trustee Jan Miller?
Aye.
Trustee Rick Miller?
Aye.
Trustee Nightrider?
Aye.
President Walter?
Aye. Before we adjourn in the closed session, the next regular village board meeting will be on Monday, November 15th at 7 p.m. And the budget hearing will also be on November 15th shortly thereafter. So the public hearing for public input on the proposed budget will be at the November 15th meeting. This time, as we adjourn, I thank you all for coming tonight. Thank you all for watching, and have a good night. Turn off your microphones, please.